In all my life of watching BattleBots, I have never seen a fight where things could get so crazy that the BattleBots competitors actually get upset about this. Now, I want to go into a bit of detail about what happened. So, spoiler alert for episode 3 of season 5 in BattleBots, or 2020 season, however you want to call it. It's season 5, season 10, 2020, whatever you want to call it. So basically, what happened was Beta versus Rotator happened. John Reed came out of retirement for Beta back from 2016, one of the only bots to be able to take it to Tombstone and still lose. And Rotator, one of the only bots able to knock out Tombstone, both clashed in the box. Now, in the end, it went to a judge's decision between Rotator and Beta, or Beta, however you want to call it. And it was a split decision in favor of Beta. Now, I can't show the fight because I might get a copyright strike, but I'm going to say my opinion on the matter of this judge's decision because I feel like this is a judge's decision that really needs to be talked about because not a lot of people really understood this fight. Now, I'm not a judge. I don't understand how the judging criteria works, so I'll just say my opinion as I talk about the fight. So basically, Beta, for the most part, was having major control over Rotator until about the final minute mark, where Beta was able to push Rotator into the wall, and Rotator kind of bounced off the wall, hitting Beta's weapon in the process. Because of this, this made this basically made Beta weaponless, and well, not weaponless. It could still technically use the hammer stick as a weapon, and not the hammer head. Beta, for so basically, a lot of people, including Will Bales and Hypershock, and I think Jonathan Schultz and Huge, were after the fight. There was like an aftermath in between Beta versus Rotator, and I think it was Valkyrie versus Tantrum. I'm not too sure. But basically, Hypershock or Will Bales made a statement saying that why should you win if you're not using an active weapon? But so basically, I just wanted to talk about a few things about this. For one, other bots have won by not having an active weapon, and you have never given a big deal about this before. Two main examples of this would be Scorpios versus Icewave and Blacksmith versus Rotator. Both of these two bots, Scorpios winning against Icewave and Blacksmith winning against Rotator. When Rotator lost via Blacksmith, it wasn't Blacksmith didn't use his hammer at all. When Icewave lost to Scorpios, Scorpios had basically lost its weapon. So it's a little bit understandable when you put it like that. But for Blacksmith versus Rotator, the Blacksmith versus Rotator is the main example of this, where Blacksmith didn't use their weapon at all because they didn't want their weapon to be damaged at all, but they still won the fight. So basically, the question is, what does it take to damage a robot to the extent of how you should win a fight? Now, overall, in the decision of Beta versus Rotator, I will agree with Beta versus Rotator, and this is not favoritism at all. This isn't like Bombshell versus Duck, where it kind of is favoritism of how I viewed the judge's decision. I don't like Beta, I don't like Rotator. This is all just a matter of how I saw the fight. Beta definitely looked like he had full control of the fight for the most part. It definitely seemed like he was always pushing Rotator around, always keeping advantage of Rotator and its like how unstable Rotator is. While I would give damage to RotatoR in that category, I will say that it definitely seemed like some of the damage was unintentional, especially when Beta lost its hammerhead in that part. So while I would give damage to RotatoR, I probably wouldn't give all points to it, but probably most. I'd probably give 4-2 damage for RotatoR. I would give probably 4-1 control Beta, because it did look like RotatoR was getting under Beta a few times, but RotatoR didn't really do anything with that. It just kind of looked like it got stuck and Victor had no idea what he was doing. And finally, aggression. Now, aggression is one of the more complicated classes in the judges' criteria, because aggression can be defined in many terms for BattleBots. A big case of this would be something like Razorback versus Sawblaze, on how they both attempted to be aggressive and Sawblaze was much more aggressive. But since Razorback had a spinning weapon, the judges gave the aggression to Razorback, while it didn't do much damage at all. Now, I feel like this is a very important judge's decision, and for me, I would give aggression 3-2 for Beta, which adds to a total of 9-7 via Beta. Now, I feel like this is a very important judge's decision, because I feel like, because of the aggression category and how vague it is, I like this because it shows that you don't really need an active weapon to win the fight. It's been shown a few times, like I mentioned, Scorpios versus Ice Wave, and Blacksmith versus RotatoR. So I agree with this decision. I don't. I can see how one could get upset about this judge's decision, but for the most part, I feel like they were on point for the most part on how they were judging this decision. I feel like this was a smart decision. I agree with the decision. Now, if you do disagree with this decision, please let me know why you disagree with the decision in the comments. I just feel that the reason RotatoR shouldn't win is because it only really got one hit and it didn't really do anything with that hit. Like, Beta lost its weapon, but RotatoR didn't capitalize on it. It's not like when RotatoR lost its weapon to Deathroll and Deathroll kept slamming it and hitting it over and over and over and over again. No, RotatoR didn't do anything with the damage that it inflicted with it. It only got one hit, and it seemed very unintentional for what it was. So I do feel like they got the decision right for the most part. So that's about it. See ya.